750 715 815.
Hello, good afternoon, and you're very welcome to Liveline. It's got 5-star reviews. The TV adaptation of Sally Rooney's award-winning novel, Normal People. I'm just reading the one in The Guardian here, and it's 5 out of 5 stars. But I'm reading a piece from The Telegraph this morning, which was reprinted in the Irish Independent, and that was less than pleased with Normal People. But people that have contacted us off their own bat, and I know people would have been aware of the 12 episodes starting on BBC and RT, because there's been blanket wall-to-wall coverage nearly on every radio programme and every radio station as well about it, and it's been universally positive. Mary, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe. It's described to me as the eagerly awaited adaptation of a novel, which I never heard of.
That's fair.
So naturally, I tuned into it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the novel was very good, and I think it was came across as about maybe a very disturbed teenage girl. But for viewing, I think it was. I don't know how they got the young actress to play the part in the first place.
Daisy Edgar Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
She's 21.
Which they were very good. She's 21, but she came across as she only looked about 15.
Well, she was there as playing a 6-year student, to take your point.
Yes, of course. Yes, that's right. I take your point. Well, I imagine it was like something you would expect to see in a porno movie. Certainly not for family viewing.
What would you see in a porno movie, Mary?
Well, I don't know, because I never watched one. I've just imagined.
Okay.
So, yeah. Well, as we are in lockdown at the moment, I'd say a lot of young people were up, teenagers, and watching with their parents. And I am sure a lot of parents were mortified. But anyway, that's my opinion anyway. So I'd be interested to hear what everybody else has to say.
Okay. And what do you like watching, Mary?
Well, I like lots of documentaries. I like true stories, or like
nationwide and things like that.
Yeah, everything. Well, not particularly nationwide, but in general, I like family viewing. But I think RT show a lot of repeats at the moment, and it's very, very annoying. But however,
the country
that's the way it is.
They can't make programmes. The Fair City set behind me here is completely empty. They're not allowed.
I know that. I'm talking about Fair City.
And you don't think. Well, Mary, by raising it, you will ensure that its ratings go even higher. You know that.
I'm surprised. I am actually surprised.
They will go higher. They will. That's the world we live in. Yeah. And I don't think the makers of Element Pictures and Lenny Abrams, I don't think they'd be unhappy either, because it would help the audience ratings. Tommy Banks. Tommy, good afternoon. You contacted us as well. What did you not like about it?
Good afternoon, Joe. Yes. Well, I feel that it was a bit pornographic, maybe on one or two things. And I feel that that young actress is being exploited and used just to get the ratings, because it's exploitation of her. It's giving the wrong message to young people, and it's no wonder there's so many crisis pregnancies. Like, this is supposed to be the normal now for young people. Over a month ago, it was stated in one of the main newspapers that over 9,000 abortions, mostly chemical, took place in Ireland last year. Joe.
Hang on, Tommy. I'm not going down that road, because that's not what we have that debate, and we've had it many times. It's you rang about Normal People. It's a television program.
I did, yes.
Okay. It features in the second episode. I've only seen 2 episodes, and it's quite slow, and it's quite atmospheric and moody and really well shot, and everyone says the acting. Paul Mescal, you heard reading a poem there just at the end of the 1 o'clock, and Daisy Edgar Jones are brilliant in it. In the second episode, as I say, I've only seen 1 and 2. There's some nudity, male and female. Is that what you object to?
Well, it is giving the wrong message, Joe, to young people. Like, I have 2 daughters now, and if they think that that's what's going on in secondary school, it's shocking, and I don't think you would like,
So, Tommy, it's not just the nudity, it's the age of the actors.
Exactly, Joe, exactly. Now, that's it, because I'll tell you what.
And I just want to be clear on this. It's not just the age, because I think if Daisy Edgar Jones, I don't know if she's 21 now, but then she would have been 20 when they made it. But it's the age that they portray, isn't it?
Exactly. Now you said it, you look at all the classmates of that girl in that school, they were all teenagers, you know, and they see this going on, and this is normal, and it's giving the wrong message to young people, and, you know...
Yeah, but they're not getting their role models and their boundaries from television programs these days.
They are.
Tommy, they're getting it from social media and...
Yeah, well, I agree, but you'd rarely see that on social media, unless you went into a pornographic channel, you know, and then... But just for instance, NBC have a great program. It's called Manifest. It's on Sky Atlantic now, and the scenes in that, all the young women, they're covered up, and there's bedroom scenes in it, and it's a very interesting. Like if RTE could take it on board and broadcast it. It's called Manifest.
Well, what's it about?
It's about this plane load of people that went off from Jamaica to New York, mostly Americans, and they disappeared. There was no sight nor light of the plane. And 5 years, the plane landed again in New York.
There's loads of things like that. But why do you think it's sending a bad message? What's bad about two people who are in love being naked together?
Well, is it the right message? I wouldn't like a daughter of mine to be engaging in sexual promiscuity before she gets married. You know, and I think most parents wouldn't.
Hang on, it's with one person.
It's morally wrong. It's fornication. It's the national broadcaster promoting fornication.
No, it's not, Tommy. But you know you're going to be labelled, Tommy. I hate saying this to you. You sound like a lovely man, but you're going to be. Yeah. I can see. I'm told already on Twitter. People are saying, "Oh, go back to the '60s," and.
Yeah, but
I know, but I know, but you're entitled to your opinion because the program has got universally positive interviews on I think every RT program. So you're entitled if you disagree. You're entitled as anyone else to make a point. Weldon Costello, 51551. Watch your hands.
Hello.
Weldon Costello, your point, please. You're listening to Tommy and Mary about normal people.
Good afternoon, Joe, and thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, thank you for making the call.
I think Normal People is an excellent TV series. It's a portrayal of a really love story in a very sensitive and brilliant crafted drama. The acting and chemistry between both the young people is excellent. Ireland, we've woken up.
Yeah, keep talking. I want to balance this, yeah.
I think it's covering the portrayal of mental health, the issue of consent, the crippling shyness and insecurities of young people in a brilliant manner. I think it's an exquisite piece. Well done to all concerned.
Okay, does Tommy or Mary want to reply to that? Tommy,
I think there's, if say for instance that young girl in the film got pregnant, she has a crisis pregnancy, what would she do? She won't hear any of the media saying about Ask Michelle or Human Life International to help her, you know, and it's promoting fornication, Joe. And
well, actually, as a commissioner, if you don't mind, Joe, I watched it very clearly, and if you go in to the age of consent and you go into his crisis pregnancy query, he actually took protection.
Use a condom, yeah.
Oh, I know. Well, at least
and I think that's a very admirable thing of many young people.
I know.
Years ago, that was all shoved under the carpet.
And Tommy, do you accept? Tommy, you did see it, didn't you?
Oh, I did. I did indeed. So yeah, well, I tell you why I watched it, Joe, because I watched it because I got phone calls from 2 or 3 young married women in the parish here, and they have young children, young girls and boys, and they were horrified at this. What can we do about this?
You know what they can do? They can pick up the remote control.
Exactly, of course, yeah, and that's why.
But anyway, Tommy, do you not accept it? Which is the point made by Weldon that the issue of consent was in the first 10 minutes of the second episode, which was the sex scene, as you call it. The consent was absolutely and totally 100% given on the part of the young man and the young woman.
Well, I can understand that, and young people are very vulnerable. But young people make mistakes, and they can make them very early as teenagers, which they might regret later on. I think it's bringing down sex and marriage and procreation to almost an animalistic level, And
I don't agree with you, Tommy. There, I'm afraid.
Well, you see, it's really for marriage and procreation, where a young boy and a girl can be reared with a father and mother. Last year there were...
So you can only be reared by a father and mother, Tommy, is that what you're saying?
Well, no, most, there were over 30% of the births last year were from single mothers, and where's the
Sorry, I
fathers
thought I
and them
was talking
kids?
about normal people.
You know.
I think you're statistically researching different
Well,
things.
what you're trying to say to me now is that's the new normal. Promiscuity
It
is
is
the new
very normal,
fornication
Tommy.
is the new
It's
normal.
people open their eyes. It's actually happening on a daily basis in the long grass up a field. Very rare, very probably, most likely happening in the parish you're calling from.
Oh, it's happening everywhere. I agree with you.
But
there,
Tommy,
absolutely. You know.
Tommy, can I put it another way?
Yeah.
What is no harm is being done to either party? What is that?
About the heart,
What is
their soul,
Okay,
the
well,
immortal soul.
Okay,
You know.
so now it's a religious issue.
Well, anyway, you look at it, the immortal soul, and the next time they have sex, if they didn't use protection, the girl could be pregnant, or could end up in, crisis pregnancy, could end up in abortion, could end up in a nervous breakdown. Like I've talked to women who
I know all that, but the abortion is legal in this country now, Tommy.
Unfortunately, murder is legalized in this country.
But we didn't have a referendum saying let's legalise murder. Murder is obviously wrong. We did have a referendum about abortion, and the majority of people said yes.
Well, unfortunately. But on that point, Joe, only 46% of the total electorate voted.
Yeah, but it is. We live in a democracy, and 54%.
I know.
You know.
Yeah.
But Tommy, do you feel by raising these issues that you are being? Do you think you're being unfairly? Am I unfairly treating you as a programme? Do you think you are unfairly treated in general in Ireland for raising this type of debate?
Well, I don't think you're unfairly treating me, but I would say a lot of young people, because of the moral standards in the country now, they almost look, they almost think immorality is the norm. That's the sad thing, and it's like you go into any town before this lockdown, Friday night, Saturday night, Joe, go down to Temple Bar, you see them coming out of pubs, getting sick, vomiting, having sex on the side of the street, and is that the normal we want in this country? We're supposed to be civilized. As far as I can see, this country is getting more barbaric, and year in, year out, Joe, it's getting worse and worse. It's no wonder we have a pandemic. And
no, hang on, Tommy. Now, if you start going down that road, it will be the end of discussion on Liveline. If you start saying that the pandemic, which some people suggest up in Northern Ireland, I think that the pandemic is somehow a reward for a punishment for bad behaviour, that's so nonsensical now. You had some fair points. Mary had some fair points as well. I read out Mary's I just want to read out Mary's other points. She said the building site scene where Marianne tells Connell she would lie down and let him do anything to her. The dialogue in that was over the top. God Almighty, for 6-year students, this is her point. For 6-year students, but that's where you're coming from as well. It's the age of
absolutely, Joe. Yeah, absolutely. And that's you, Joe. Would you like your daughter to be the actress in that film?
I'm not. It's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do. A serious. I never go down that road. I never go down that road.
Okay.
But what I will tell you, she loved the book and she's loving the TV program.
Well, Joe,
so
the usual thing about a book is it's usually far better. You might remember that famous John Banville book, Secret Scripture. The book is always better than the film.
Yeah, that was Sebastian Barry's book.
That was Sebastian Barry's, right.
Book, as is his latest book, 1,000 Mills. David Weaver, your point, please.
Joe, how are you doing?
Good. What do you think of the points that Tommy and Weldon and Mary are making?
I have to say, Joe, I think every parent that has teenage daughters or sons would actually cringe watching that, because I had to cringe to think of teenagers and then they're just, jumping into this, sexual thing. As a parent, I had to switch the channel. I have, a young son and a daughter, but I mean, I have to think of parents that saying, is this what they call normal? Is you send your children to school in a school uniform and, they're young teenagers, just things they could be doing like football or school or drama or tennis, and we're saying, no, they just have to be sexualised. I mean, we have enough problem with all this.
But the age of consent in the country is 17. They are 6-year students. They are hoping to go to university. They've seen the consent scene in the first 8 minutes of the second episode. Could be used, because it's a big issue, could be used as a masterclass in obtaining and giving consent from both parties.
But Joe,
Okay.
the message this is employing here, the truth of it is, the message is employing here is that we're sexualising our young people.
Indeed.
Okay, and that's the message that's coming from this program. It's all about sexualising them. Our young people just need to grow, live their lives, play tennis, do football, get involved in other things. They don't need all this sexualisation shoved down their throats on television 24/7. I actually, as I said, I can, parents with teenagers, and they're saying, "Oh man, but that's normal." It's not normal. It's not normal for them. There's things that they could be doing with their lives that is more productive, rather than
rather than loving each other.
Hopping into bed.
Joe, you're calling it loving each other. Look, I mean, I went through teenagers, and everybody else went through teenage crap, and their emotions are a bit, how to say, all over the place and all that kind of stuff when they're in the teenage thing. They don't need this to be told that this is normal. This is not the normal.
It's a television program that's on after the watershed. Debbie Riley, Debbie 51551, wash your hands. Debbie.
Oh, hello, Joe. Well, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lovely program with lots of different messages about young people in school. Now, I haven't been in school in a long time, but I have a teenage son, and while he didn't watch it because he was playing on his PlayStation, I watched it. I'd heard it being advertised on the radio and the television, and I just thought there was lots of different messages about groups in schools. If you're on the outside of a group, the popular groups, the good-looking girls, I thought that there was all sports about how they all interact with each other, about how boys can be made to be mean to girls when they're in company of their friends showing off, and I thought it was all handled really well. I thought, there was a lot of intimate scenes and all, but I thought they were all really handled very well. I thought the consent was really made a point of that they both consented to it, took protection. I thought it was an absolutely lovely program. I recommended it to my friends to watch it back on the player. And, you can probably think that, I don't think it would encourage any kids in school to do this. Boys and girls that are mature and are going to explore all the different aspects of...
Okay, Tommy, what do you think at that point? They won't encourage people are curious and they will explore.
I would say it won't encourage some strong-minded people, but some other people it would. They might think that's the standards now that we have, and a young fella could almost force or encourage his girlfriend or persuade him to get into bed and all this and all the problems that can lead to,
You saw, and I know you saw the program. You saw that interaction.
I did.
You saw that interaction, Tommy, as the boy encouraging the girl into bed.
Well, no.
You could read it. You could read it the other way.
It can happen. Young people might think, "Oh, this is on television. This is what's happening now among young people." And young fellas are more highly sexualized than girls, and they would encourage their girls and force them.
Were you tempted to turn it off, Tommy?
I was, except that the two young married women that phoned me about it asked me to watch it and see
what's the marital status of the women got to do with their contribution?
They're young married women with young that they would be very strong in the faith, Joe, and there would be
I'm just saying
fornication and all that.
Well, fornication, the old definition is, and that's why you're using it, I presume, you're deliberately using that word, is in the eyes of the church is sex outside of marriage, isn't that correct?
Yeah, well, it's sex between two single people, generally outside marriage, Joe. Yeah.
You always use that word, do you, Tommy? It's an awful word.
Well, I don't like using it, Joe. I don't like
Molly isn't clear. Molly, your point, please. I'll let you back in, Tommy, I promise. Go ahead, Molly.
Okay.
Hi, Joe. How are you keeping?
Good, thanks,
No, I just thought that it was a lovely program. It really portrayed two people in love, of age, consenting to sex. I just don't really understand where the other guys are coming from. At this day and age, I think we've moved on an awful lot from using the word fornication. I think it's probably needs to be left in the past, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
everyone is entitled to their own...
And
I don't have any kids at the moment, but
but you are a teacher, I see.
Yes.
And you are a religious teacher. So does the sex education come under your remit, Molly? Relationships, I presume.
Relationships.
Yeah, are you approving teaching of promiscuity like that then to single young students?
They make their own decisions. I just teach them
What
to be
would you
safe
encourage
and
them
to
to
be...
do? What would you tell them to do?
I don't tell them to do anything. They make their own decisions.
But would you tell them, would you say it's right or wrong, or they should wait for marriage, you know?
That's not my business. I just...
Well, if you're teaching, are you teaching religious education? That's what you should be teaching, isn't it, really, now? You know,
Well,
in all
religious
honesty.
education has changed an awful lot.
Well, religious education, religious precepts haven't really changed, you know, in all honesty now. And
Well, I don't just teach. I teach about Islam. I teach about Buddhism. I teach about morality. We cover an awful lot other than just the Catholic teaching.
Okay, so when you're teaching moral issues, would you, if a student asked you, is it all right to have sex, teacher, before you get married or as a teenager? What would you say to that?
I would say that it's their own decision.
But what if they asked you for advice? What would you say?
I would say that it's their own decision, and they would have to. I wouldn't be in a position to
if they asked you, was it right or wrong in your eyes? Was it morally right or wrong? What would you say?
I don't ever give my own opinion on issues like that.
But if you're teaching the Catholic religion on that particular day, and
I would
they asked
say
you in the
in the
eyes of the
Catholic
church,
religion,
is it right or wrong?
Yes, I would. Yes, of course. I would teach.
Okay.
In the eyes, what you're saying?
In the eyes of the church.
Catholic
Church.
Church.
In the eyes of the Catholic Church.
But in the eyes of the state, it's not.
No, well, sure, what's the state, Joe? 80 or 90% of the people in Ireland declare themselves as Christians, you know, and as a Christian, we all know commandments, or we should know them, and in fact, the sad thing is most students coming out of school now, secondary school, primary school, don't even know them. You know?
Okay, Weldon, Weldon Costello, is it your niece that's in it? You mentioned in your call
she's
there.
coming into it, and I'm so looking forward to seeing her in it.
And have you spoken to her since she filmed it?
Pardon me?
Have you spoken to her since she filmed it? Is she?
I haven't really, because, well, she doesn't, Slaney doesn't talk about her work, but she's a brilliant young artist, an upcoming actress, and, as an uncle, yes, I'm proud of all my nieces and nephews' achievements. They're all young. They're all living their lives. They're making the Ireland modern. They're bringing us forward.
Tommy,
Yeah?
again, I don't want to be her. Have you held these views for a long time?
Well, it sounds like it to me.
Well, of course, Joe, I have, yeah. Sure. Well, when we were in school, and you might remember too, you learned your catechism by heart, by heart. You knew your commandments, you knew what's right and wrong, and it helped lead a happy life. Sex was frowned upon before marriage. You wouldn't dare ask a girl to go to bed with you. You might think about it, or you get a slap in the face from her,
But is it always the boy asking the girl? Can the girl not ask the boy?
Oh, of course, Joe. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you get a slap in the face from a girl 20, 30 years ago if you suggested going to bed. To say, do you think I'm a slut? Do you think I'm like that? That's not the type of person I am. That was the attitude then, Joe. That's what we grew up with. And
What's the male version of a slut? Use your language. No, does that roll off your tongue? What's the male version of a slut?
Well, that's it. You see, unfortunately,
No, what is the male version of a slut? That awful, obnoxious word you
a dickhead. I would say a dickhead.
Well, it's not. But anyway, Julie, good afternoon. Stay with us, Tommy, please.
Okay.
Tommy, you say you got a slap?
No, I didn't, Joe. I didn't.
Julie, your point, please. You're listening to Tommy and Mary.
Hi there, how are you?
Who didn't like normal people, and in fairness to them, my understanding is that it wasn't just the nudity that they objected to, and it wasn't just the age of the actors, Paul and Daisy, that they objected to. It was the age of the characters they were portraying, 6th-year students, obviously. Julie, your point, please.
Well, I honestly think that that's really the least of our worries, is legal and consensual and protected sex for young people today. I mean, when you look at the prevalence of mental health issues, suicide, drug issues, I really think that there's other things we should be outraged with. And I mean, particularly, I would encourage them to read something like On Trail, which has been on the English Leaving Cert for a number of years. So, these young people are aware of this, and this is what young people are doing. And it's another beautiful piece of Irish literature, but it's very sad, unfortunately, and it truly is outrageous what goes on in that piece of literature. I think, Normal People is so beautifully portrayed and filmed and really articulately done on the intricacies of a relationship between two young people who are ultimately not doing anything wrong.
Tommy?
That's your opinion, as to say, and...
Well, Tommy, who says they're doing something wrong? Do you mean illegal? Do you mean...
No, well, I mean immoral. Like, if for any Christian to do that...
In whose morality?
In Christian morality, Joe, it's wrong, and that's it. And...
Well, I'm afraid Ireland is no longer under the shackles of a Christian morality, in your opinion, like...
Well, they don't have to be, but a lot of people sign up as Christians. If they sign up as Christians on their census forms, and they're hypocrites, really. They're not Christians if they don't believe in any morality. There's Christian morality which has been handed down for 2,000 years, And if people want to have a happy life, they follow that morality, and and they will have a happy life. But getting young teenagers into bed. Is putting them into situations which only adults can deal with. Apart from the religious aspect of it all, it's totally, and as you say, a lot of this does lead to mental health problems, break up of relationships. People living together before they get married, and some of them won't commit to each other, and they go on for years, and they end up maybe at the age of 45 or 50 with no children and no commitment. And I've seen girls who have nervous breakdowns over lack of commitment.
It's always girls, isn't it?
Girls and fellas, and I would blame fellas more than girls.
And they're hardly girls are 45. Julie, you had a question there for Tommy.
I asked him, has he read On Trail?
Have I read which?
On Trail. It's a very good piece of
Irish
literature.
I'll make a point of finding it out. Yeah, I'll try and get it.
You should. It's excellent. It's excellent. And I think it would be
about young people's mental health problems and that, is it?
It's about basically the abuse of a young Irish girl who was sexually assaulted and then went and killed herself, unfortunately. And it was how the church dealt with it. So I think you would be interested in it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have a look for it.
Frank Daly, your point, please, Frank.
How you doing? I just there's a couple of issues there. Like, I think people remarked there that the girl was a little bit unusual, and I think maybe that's part of the whole thing. I think people are missing that she is different, and the guy is different, and there's nothing wrong with being different. And I think the whole the sex thing there, I think it was handled brilliantly. In the consensual form,
I agree.
and the wearing the condom, and the girl was not forced to do anything. And as a matter of fact, he actually reiterated that if it wasn't okay with her, and I sat down and watched it with my 17-year-old daughter, and we discussed it herself, my wife, and I thought it was a great opportunity to discuss these things, the things that are going to happen, and we've got to make sure that kids don't think that they're doing something wrong.
Well, would you say it's right for your daughter if she was in that situation?
Well, if my daughter was in that situation, I would sit down and listen to her and talk to her about it. And there's nothing to say that couple last night, that boy and that girl, wouldn't end up going out together and going to college in Dublin and going out together and get engaged and get married. Not that people have to get engaged or get married, or maybe live together for the rest of their life. There's not always doom and gloom.
Yeah, but why the big rush into bed? I think it's just exploitation of the program to get high ratings.
No one's saying,
a lot of the sex was used for that.
No one's saying there's a big rush into bed. I never said that.
Okay.
Kids will be kids.
But you did.
They're young adults. They're young adults.
But Frank, in fairness, you did refer to them as a boy and a girl. I think that is not part of Tommy's objection.
Okay, but they're young adults.
They're a young boy and a girl. She's very young. That girl looks no more than 15. I know.
That girl is 21. Yeah, but as Joe said earlier on, they are 6-year students, and once they are over the age of 17, from a legal point of view, but I'm not talking from a legal point of view. From a legal point of view, there's nothing wrong with what they did.
Well, that's your opinion. From a Christian moral, are you a Catholic? What religion are you? Can you ask?
I'm not a Catholic. No.
Are you not? Okay.
No.
Well, I can understand if you're not. Are you a Christian?
I don't think it should. I have no label. I don't think this should be viewed upon on any sort of religious standing or what you are or what you are not.
Sorry, Tommy, can I just ask you what your opinion, or sorry, not what your opinion, but what your definition of morality is, please?
you want to think about that for a while, isn't it? Morality is doing what you think is morally right, what you think is the good, the good for the person. It's immoral to go out and kill your neighbour with a shotgun. It's immoral to go and steal money off the local shop. There's a whole list. If you want to read the catechism, you will find what's morally right and morally wrong.
I mean, immoral, you just said it's something that you think, so it's subjective, isn't it? You may not agree.
Basic Christian. I would go by the basic Christian.
Okay, so that's where you get your morality, which a lot of people do.
Yeah, of course.
David, for David, do you want to come back?